You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on a Tuesday, as we have got plenty to get into. Some fantasy football talk, our Tuesday weekly power rankings. We got to do a Tuesday rewind. We got to talk a little bit about this playoff picture now that the Chargers get a win last night on Monday Night Football and how that affects the Steelers and the rest of the AFC. We're going to talk to Chris Adamski on this Tuesday, but as always, Matt, we'll start with a little news of the day.
Yeah.
As Mike Tomlin spoke at noon today, as he always does on a Tuesday, and there was plenty to get into. But as we kind of always start, I think the biggest takeaway from these is the injury updates.
That's no doubt, right?
And that is that's what we're always kind of waiting to hear from the head coach. And here's what he had to say. Calvin Anderson is still out with that knee injury, will not play this week against the Dolphins. With that, Andres Pete is still in concussion protocol. So,
sure,
a lot to watch there at the left tackle position. We'll get into that in a minute. Darnell Washington, Malik Harrison also still in the concussion protocol, and they're just going to have to take it day by day.
Yeah. No, we knew they'd all be in the protocol. Like, as long as you didn't rule them out, like it's such a bad one. We knew that was going to be the news.
Exactly right.
Okay.
And more often than not, that ends up being a week absence. But we did also just see James Pierre able to return in that regard this past week. So not ironclad. And they do have an extra day, which is important in that regard.
Yes, he's a setback.
100%. And then
Washington's the most important of the group, clearly, to me.
Even
of those 3 concussions.
Even with the potential up in the air at left tackle with Calvin Anderson and Andres Pete.
All right, you said we'll get to that in a minute.
Let's
get to it now.
Might as well. Cross that bridge when we get there.
I think Pete is really a guard at this stage of his career, and he didn't play a full game, and it's a small eval, but they must have thought that too, because I remember when he arrived on campus at St. Vincent's, first 2 practices, he was the left tackle. Mm-hmm. Ever since they just moved him to guard, I don't think you're a left tackle anymore, And his previous stops kind of told you that. I mean, he's drafted as a left tackle, moved in as he slowed down, and I think that's what he is. This past game against the Ravens, I thought he was a liability. I mean, I thought he was clearly their worst lineman. And, again, Cook only played, 18, 20 snaps, whatever it was. I mean, a little less than half the game, I think. But I thought Cook was better than him in the game. So, I mean, again, I'm comparing 30 snaps to 20 snaps.
Sure.
But, I mean, Spencer Anderson's probably better than both. Or
Calvin Anderson. That's my big – I would like to see him.
Yeah.
And as we've mentioned a few times since training camp and throughout this Broderick Jones injury process, he was the one that got the contract last year.
2-year deal.
So you think that they at least value him enough, even if it's from a backup role, to give him a little security, to give him
I think they're
a little
comfortable
length.
with him being the third guy to back up both those dudes.
Exactly right. And so he's the one that you would like to see step up, get the opportunity, all those different things, but he has been ruled out. And so, I'm with you. I thought Dylan Cook, for the given situation, held his water just fine.
Yeah. They're not the greatest pass rushers, and
sure,
right.
I just don't ever want to be down 3 tackles, and I know Pete's kind of guard tackle, but
right now
it's not a great place.
And
to
I
be.
also don't even know who would be activated if Pete and Anderson and Broderick are all out.
Right.
Which 2 of the 3 we already know are.
2 of the 3 already are.
So somebody else is going to be in pads that's going to play tackle. I don't know who that even is. Somebody on the practice squad that's not. Shouldn't be.
It's funny. This is the part where I would make the joke, just bump Darnell Washington to tackle, no problem. But he's in the protocol as well.
Yeah, right.
So Calvin Anderson out. Those 3, Pete, Washington, Harrison, in the concussion protocol. Obviously, we'll wait and see the practice reports throughout the week. Keanu Benton with the ankle, James Pierre with the calf, Ben Skoranek with the finger, and Y.A. Black, still undisclosed at this point. All banged up, but could play this week, according to Mike Tomlin. Okay. Just going to have to wait and see how they do throughout the week, how their participation goes in practice.
Who are those again?
Benton, Pierre, Skoranek, and Black.
Okay.
And
didn't mention Queen.
Didn't mention Queen.
Okay.
Also didn't initially mention Derek Harmon, but he was asked about it. We'll get to that in a
I'd
second.
say Harmon's one I'm curious about.
He also said that Kyle Duggar could return this week. But again, they'll have to wait and see how he progresses through practice and throughout the week.
So there's a lot of balls in the air. I mean, we didn't get many firm answers there.
Good Mike Tomlinism by you there. A lot of balls in the air, certainly. Oh, Pursuta likes to say that one often, too, I think, doesn't he? And so that was kind of his initial statement from the podium, if you will. And then he got asked a follow-up question a few minutes later about Derek Harmon, and he said he will be limited early on this week, but is expected to practice and could return.
Wow, okay.
So at least he hasn't been ruled out early in the process like he was the last few weeks.
I say 1 week ago today, he was already ruled out, right?
And the week before. But yes,
okay.
The last 2 weeks, Mike Tomlin ruled him out at his Tuesday press conference.
Good. Well, sounds like this extra day for Monday might be useful for a lot of these guys.
Massive.
Yeah,
and
that could go a long way.
It's not a rest advantage, right? Because the Dolphins get the same.
Right.
But I do think it's the right time. Hey, it's not a Thursday to Sunday where you're getting 10 days. It's certainly not a bye week. It's only 24 hours, but I think it's a good time. It's a good time to be getting that 24 hours.
Yeah. Excuse me, Dorito down the wrong pipe.
Cool Ranch or regular?
No, just regular.
Okay.
Cool Ranch are fine, but if regular didn't exist, I would like Cool Ranch a lot, but regular is like my favorite chip.
You're just an OG nacho guy.
Oh, big time. Actually, the spicy nacho
is good.
Is
the
better.
purple bag, right?
No.
I think. Is that the purple bag?
Purple bag's some other flavor.
Okay.
But they almost look like the original.
Very
good. That's my number one. But anyway, it's my favorite chip on the planet. Anyway, what the heck were we talking about?
Chips. Kelly. Derek Harmon.
Monday
Injury
night.
report. Monday night. Extra 24 hours.
Extra 24 hours. Yep. I would say, okay, we did it. Yeah, I mean, they're an old team that had the earliest bye week of the year. So I think any rest day would be.
That's a very good point.
Right. I mean, I think any rest day would be very welcome for this team.
100%. 24 extra hours. It's not going to drastically tilt the meter in favor of your health one way or the other. But I think if you're going to have that at some point, this is the right time to do it.
Especially with the list you just listed there, too. I mean, I'd really like to get Harmon back.
I'd really like to get Harmon back.
We do, like, on second reviewing or whatever.
If that extra day is the difference for Darnell Washington clearing protocol or
that'd
not.
go a long way, too.
Yeah.
But, of course, you pay for it on Monday night or you pay for it on the other end.
Exactly right. And it's on the other end, it's those Detroit Lions who are.
But that doesn't mean as much.
Pretty physical.
It's an NFL, but because it's an NFC game, though. Is what
True.
I mean. Yeah.
True. Good point. And at least it's not you're a day short traveling across the country or.
Good point.
Detroit is.
You probably made that trip. Is it like?
It's a joke. We made it last preseason. It's like a 35-minute flight.
Okay. It's probably like Baltimore.
We don't fly to Cleveland. We bus to Cleveland.
Right.
But other than that, Buffalo and Detroit are the quickest flights. Even a little bit quicker than Baltimore and Philly.
And Cincy.
Okay.
Cincy's
a little less than an hour. Philly's a little less than an hour.
All are under an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baltimore's about 40 minutes.
I can't imagine being on a 35-minute
Buffalo.
flight. Yeah, and it's just,
I'm telling you, Matt, it's like we get 30,000 feet in the air, and they're like, oh, please prepare the cabin for, like stewardesses, please prepare the cabin for landing. Yeah.
Like
and
there's no flat part. It's just burp.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And what was hilarious was it last year? 2 years ago. 2 years ago, that weird Sunday that got moved to Monday that kicked off at like 5 o'clock, the Steelers, the Mason Rudolph playoff game in Buffalo. Remember, New York was in a state of emergency with all the snow. That's why that game got moved from Sunday to Monday.
Okay.
We flew in, and it was like apocalyptic, like because no one was allowed on the roads or anything. It was no movement at all, and we never like climbed altitude. Like we just stayed. Like I could see we like basically flew up 79 north right into bombing. You know what I mean?
So you could just like see roads and grass and snow the whole time.
I'm like, oh, there's Cranberry, there's the Lemieux practice facility, and then it's like, cool. Oh, there's Grove City, there's the Grove City outlets, there's
every step of the way.
Every step of the way.
Like you never got it above the clouds.
Because they were like, what's the point? The weather's so bad, like just stay low.
There's probably no one in the air.
No one in the air.
Right.
We landed. It was so bizarre, like apocalyptic. But yeah, so
that is like driving to the radio station, the old station during COVID.
Yes.
I mean, I felt like The Walking Dead.
Dead.
Right.
I still have a time lapse that I took on my phone one time of driving in here through the tunnels in like the middle of rush hour, and it was like
there's nobody there.
Right. So that's kind of the latest of what we know and where we're at in that regard. Yeah, pretty quick flight back to and fro Detroit, as you can imagine as well. Matt, before we go to break here, some pretty substantial news around the league. I don't know if it's going to necessarily tilt the playoff odds in the AFC or anything like that, but from a name recognition standpoint, significant news. And
this
that is
nuts, yeah.
Phillip Rivers and the Colts have agreed to a contract after he worked out with the Colts Monday. The 44-year-old quarterback is on the Indianapolis practice squad 5 seasons after his last NFL action. He's a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame right now and is back on the practice squad. This is wild.
This is wild. I mean, he's an odd dude, from what I understand. Like, loves football, and in a good way. Like, he's not, a weirdo.
Not like a bad dude.
He's got a ton of kids.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a little strange. And he's a grandfather. Yesterday was his 44th birthday. Just think, Rodgers just turned 42 last week. So, I mean, he's 2 full years older than Rodgers.
He has a son who's the same age as Riley Leonard, the Colts.
That's nuts,
the Colts rookie quarterback.
So I didn't know this, but what he's been doing since his, quote, retirement, high school coach, and he's also been taking, like, draftable quarterbacks and working them out.
Interesting.
One of which was Riley Leonard. So there's some speculation that he kind of might just be Riley's quarterback coach, mentor, if
misses being around a team and the locker room and the camaraderie.
But, I mean, Leonard's banged up right now. He got hurt in that game coming off the bench. Richardson is out.
Daniel Jones
is out. So Rivers would have to, like, put pads on and a helmet. I mean, he would have to be at least Leonard's backup, if not the spot starter. I don't know. I mean, to me, I think the Colts are shot. They have such a hard schedule.
I completely agree.
And this doesn't move the needle one bit for me. Tyler told us, because this is the only thing I wasn't sure about, was since he's already on the ballot, if he sees playing time,
reset his 5-year Hall of Fame clock.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I don't think I'd give that up if I were him, just to go get my head beat in as an immobile 44-year-old. But I mean, I don't know.
Maybe he wants his grandkids to be a little bit older when he finally gets into Canton so they can remember it and enjoy it.
Maybe he doesn't think he's got a good shot to get in this year.
Maybe
anyway.
he doesn't think he's going to get in this year in another 5 years. I'll let Brady and Ben and those guys get in, and I'll sneak in on the next one.
I can't remember anyone that had this big a layoff, though. I mean, 44.
We've seen a lot of athletes do the retirement, non-retirement thing.
Yeah.
That's nothing new.
I mean, Flacco did a couple years ago.
Flacco did it a couple years ago. Brett Favre did it 37 times.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan did it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Swiss on Swiss did it.
Yeah.
But 5 years after your last action is wild.
I think it's wild. And again, like I compare him to Rodgers just because they're almost exactly 2 years apart. Rivers was never as talented or as mobile as Rodgers on his best day. I mean, he was a great player. I think he should be a Hall of Famer.
Agreed.
Don't get me wrong.
Agreed.
He's a pocket passer. I'm just talking about mobility and an ability to, like, defend yourself.
If you would have told me a former Colts quarterback that hasn't played in a long time is coming out of retirement, I'd have been like, oh, wow, Andrew Luck's back in the fold?
Yeah, right. He might still have it.
He might still have it.
Right.
He left Stanford, where he's currently the GM of the Stanford Cardinal football program, to return to the Colts. No, it's Phillip Rivers. It's
when I heard it
crazy.
last night, I thought, wow, that's nuts. But I'm like, well, he at least has been with this organization recently. You know, he's a great player. Maybe he can Flacco it. And then I thought through it. I'm like, he was on the Hall of Fame ballot. It wasn't recently. Time flies. That was 5 years ago. That's a long time. I hope it just doesn't go terribly wrong for like his. I don't want him to get broken in half.
I don't want to see him get broken in half and have his Hall of Fame clock reset at the same time.
And the teams they're playing they have really tough games the rest of the way.
But this gets back to, this reminds me, this is the player example of, you know how like every time James Franklin, big time coach, gets fired, gets a boatload of money to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months later, they take another job and get right back to work. And you're like, dude, you just got $50 million to get fired. Like, what are you doing? Are you psychotic?
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Some people just, and the answer
These
is
people
yes.
are psychotic.
Right.
Like Phillip Rivers, you have all the money in the world. You're going into the Hall of Fame. You haven't played in 5 years. Do you really want to do this? Yes.
Anytime anyone offers me a job to be a starting quarterback, I'm going to take it. I mean, 5 years from now, someone might offer again, and I'm going to say yes. Yeah.
But they all didn't get to that point in their careers in these industries where it's the 1% of the 1% who make it without being wired differently than the rest of us.
It's certainly not the same, but if I won the lottery, I'd still be in here doing the drive. I would cut back some of the things I do, but I would still be I would still be talking on the radio.
What kind of lottery are we talking here? Because sometimes in the lottery you can win like $4 or $5 million. Other times you can win like $400, $500 million.
That's even if it's 500. I would still be in there.
Well, I take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be.
I don't think most people would.
If I want, I'm not talking like
Stan was that way. Like
if I'm talking like I win a couple million from a scratcher, I'd still be in here doing the show with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if I hit like the $1 billion Powerball and after taxes I'm getting like $450 million, I don't know. There might only be like a dozen people that ever hear, and I really like you guys a lot.
Sure,
but
there's other things to do.
There might only be like a dozen people who ever hear from me again the rest of my life. Maybe I'll show up in Indianapolis one February and join you guys at St. Elmo and pick up the tab. We have got to talk about all these all these Mike Tomlin related things with Chris Adamski.
I want to talk more Colts at some point too, because the Sauce Gardner, Daniel Jones. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with them that's not great.
You'll see, we've got Nathan in here producing for us again, and that has allowed me the opportunity to have a legitimate show outline.
Oh, look at that!
I figured
that's frowned upon around here, by the way.
It's a whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 words on this thing in total.
Okay,
I mean,
time.
I really wrote down a huge.
Out.
I really went all out. To start the second hour, I have let's discuss the AFC playoff picture.
Cool.
I just wrote playoff picture, shorthand.
I think yesterday influenced it a lot.
Big time. We will talk about that, how the Colts play into that, how the Steelers play into that, every buddy in the moving and shaking and continuing to narrow playoff picture. All of that and more as we roll along, but our buddy Chris Adamski on the other side. Just getting started here on The Drive. Uhler, Williamson, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here on a Tuesday as we roll along, and we go to the phone lines now to talk to Chris Adamski. Of course, covers the Steelers for the Trib and hosts the Steelers Blitz at noon right here on the Steelers Audio Network with our buddy Tom Opferman. Buzz, thank you for taking the time and joining us here on this Tuesday as always. Let's jump into it. And why bury the lead? What's your temperature gauge on Derek Hardman's chances of being active on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins?
I feel like he'll be there. I feel like, generally speaking, obviously there was nobody there today or anything. They have the extra day off. I feel as if it's pretty consistent that, especially with a younger guy like that, I don't think he would. Mike Tomlin would characterize it as come early in the week. Generally speaking, when it's let it be our guide and they get to practice early in the week, it's trending that way to play. I mean, we'll see for sure, but one of the things for sure. The rushing defense is literally cut in half in terms of yardage allowed. When the 4 games Derek Hardman's played at 96 yards per game, and the 9 games he's played is 96 yards per game for opponents, and the 4 games he's missed has been 192 yards average rushing by opponents. So it's literally halved. And like I've been saying here, I might have even told you last week, I like to say that Derek Hardman's best case to be in the NFL rookie team and win Steelers Rookie of the Year and everything is to put on the tape whenever he's not playing to see what happens to the Steelers rushing defense, and there's got to be a correlation there now.
Another rookie I've been meaning to ask you about week after week and I always forget is, what do you think deep down they truly think about Caleb Johnson? I mean, he just doesn't seem to make any kind of impact the very limited times we see him. There's times he plays 2 snaps, 5 snaps. But he's always active. I mean, I assume he'd be next man up if either one of the backs got hurt. But do you think they're just that down on him?
Yeah, I tend to think, last year this time, I mean, they're both similar, 3rd-round pick skill position players, and I was like, I think they're more down on Merlin Millicent than people think. Now, he finally got a healthy scratch in 2025 this past week in terms of that, so that's evidence is starting to mount. But the fact that they keep giving him, I remember this is the second half of a December game for first place on the line, and they gave him some snaps or a series or whatever. It wasn't a series, but he only got a handful of snaps. But he was in there in the second half of that game Sunday, and if they didn't believe in him at all,
right.
You wouldn't see that. There's obviously a reason that they're trying to mix him in. Even if, and you would think, again, it's December football in first place on the line, even if there was some sort of element of, salvage the sunk costs in this or something, you don't think you would do that at this stage of the season. in that important of a game like that if they didn't see some degree of. So I do think there's like, hey, we need to keep getting him some reps to some degree and see what we have here in 2026. Obviously, there's a degree of, I mean, Kenny Gainwell, I think by all measures, I'm sure even if you give them tertiary, the management and coaches, that he's been better than they expected and been more useful than they expected, and they're using him more than expected. And I think Jalen Warren's, at least from my view, I don't want to speak for them or anybody else, has been, I think, better than expected, and with Najee not around and be that guy generally in terms of that. So there's been that element why they haven't needed to use him. But so I kind of, you're right. I go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
And I guess they still see a future of him of some sort, or at least, or at least setting him up, or at least give him the resources, give him these snaps, give him this time, keep him active for games that to create that, foster the environment where he could be a player, a contributor next year.
I would hate for them to have to go into the offseason thinking we got to add a big back. We got to use a 4th-round pick on a 230-pound guy.
And you're right, because and then if they did, it's almost, I don't want to say certainly shutting the door on, but at that point, then you can't dress that many guys, and well, I mean, I guess you got to re-sign Gainwell in that scenario we're talking about, which I certainly think that they will want to do, and they want to have Gainwell around going forward. And we know Warren's signed and committed to being here, so you're right. They wouldn't need 4 running backs. So yeah, I guess in that sense, maybe that is a small part of it too. Like I said, now you're past the point where you're worried about 2026 and you're trying to get in the 2025 playoffs. But I think they do need to make sure they do at least a thorough enough evaluation before they go into how they, whether free agency or draft, whatever they do at running back.
Certainly plenty to be desired in the run game, but we finally saw the pass game come to life a little bit on Sunday. Buzz, what was it, the entire month of November for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers without a completion of 20-plus yards. They had 3 or 4 of those in the game.
I think it was 4, yeah.
On Sunday. Of course, right away with DK Metcalf kind of setting a tone, and then at the end of the game in a big moment. Is it safe to say, like when this is something we talked about a little bit yesterday, do you think that was Aaron Rodgers' best performance in a Steelers uniform? With that, we know that DK is dealing with some health stuff too, but does that relationship there feel like, okay, there's something there, like this can be our bread and butter to build on and play off of down the stretch and into the postseason?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting the way Mike Tomlin put it, and he answered the question about taking the shot on the first play there and said, we got out of bed with an aggressive mindset or aggressive posture, however he put it. But it was, I thought, because generally under Tomlin, and they've won a lot of games doing this in Baltimore, especially recently here, so this isn't a criticism necessarily, but they've played like, well, we do rock fight better than Ravens do rock fight, we'll win that way. That seemed to be the mindset and the way they've won a lot of games. Now, maybe it's when you get your brains beat in twice in a row over a month span last winter that you want to change that. But as you said, it had been 5-6 weeks since you completed a downfield pass, so that certainly wasn't the strength of your team, or at least nobody was thinking that was the strength of their team. So I think there's an element of that. I think that I thought it was interesting him saying that. I think that was a reflection of the trust in Rodgers and the trust in DK, the two guys, the 2 biggest names you brought in the offseason. One you gave a lot of money and gave a draft pick for. One, of course, the 4-time MVP. And there wasn't much of a connection there. At least there wasn't a big play element at all from DK for, again, 4, 5, 6 weeks. That sort of obviously would correlate then that way, too, in terms of not having that. So coming out and doing it in the first play, I thought that was both a sign of faith in Rodgers and Metcalf secondarily, or maybe not even secondarily, and the fact that they connected on, I think, the execution of that. Because, I mean, the fact that Rodgers did, I mean, if they don't execute that play, right, all of a sudden you're 2nd and 10, and maybe it's a 3-and-out to start the game, and the entire game is completely different, right? So I thought that, I mean, it goes without saying, it was a big yardage play, and it was a big play in the game coming that, but I do think it was a reflection of Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff's faith and belief that, hey, I mean, it's cliche to say, but that's why Aaron Rodgers is signed for December on, for that game on. It's December football. It's the 2 Ravens games, the division's on the line, the playoffs, whatever's going on. That's what he was brought here for, and they put their money where their mouth was and said, here, we know we haven't connected here. We know you got a bum hand. We know things haven't been working in the passing game, but you know what? Go out and do it today. And they, to their credit, they went out and did it.
So, Buzz, you mentioned, Roman Wilson was inactive this past week, and we've talked a lot of receiver stuff here just for, the last couple of minutes. We know Metcalf's the one. We know Skoronek's going to be active every week because of his special teams background, but he's not, clearly not the number 2 receiver. Do you think the Thielen, Valdez-Scantling being active every week is here to stay? Do you think one of those 2 or 3, including Austin, is on the verge of taking over as a true number 2 receiver? Like, where do you think the pecking order is in the future here?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting going into the game. Now, again, the first snap maybe was part of it, but I thought the element of kind of it's obviously not a clean slate. I mean, you're obviously, DK is your number 1, and there wasn't any danger that they would scratch Calvin Austin per se at all. But I thought the fact that not only was it Thielen and MVS, but they also brought back Scotty Miller. It was almost like they were like, you know what,
right.
This passing game right now, something's broken here, something's not right. We're going to almost hit the reset button to a point. Obviously not, again, completely, but as much as we can reasonably do it. We're getting 3 new guys in here. No more, for the moment anyway, Keyshawn Williams. We got to try something here. So I think there was an element of that, and we talked about, and I mean, how do you define number 2 receiver? I mean,
yeah.
None of them had more than 1 catch. My favorite stat is now 2 games in a row. Aaron Rodgers had as many catches as the second leading wide receiver on the Steelers did.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Last week against Buffalo. And, number 1, nobody had more than 1 catch this past week in Baltimore amongst the receiving corps than DK Metcalf. So, I mean, it's not as if it was a passed in flying colors, the Thielen MVS thing. They combined for 1 catch for 40 yards. But that being said, DK had his best game. It's kind of like, I guess, to make a hockey analogy, you go with the hot goalie or you stick with the goalie. That used to be a kind of an NHL thing, not so much anymore per se. But if you win, you keep the same, maybe not even goalie, you keep the same lineup week after week, right? You hear that a lot from hockey coaches. Yep. I think the fact that the passing game was as dynamic as it was all season. I don't know how much that was attributable to Thielen and MVS, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it to a point, right?
100%. And I think they found some things there. And, I found it interesting. Like Patrick Queen had a line that was something about, like getting a win against Baltimore. It's more about momentum than confidence. Like, he said something along those lines. Like, it's more about momentum for us this time of year as opposed to confidence. And you know what, Chris? I think to build on that for this week, it is a Monday Night Football matchup. We all know, even in 2025, that still gets the blood going. There's still something special about being the only show in town and Monday Night Football and the brand that has become in the National Football League over the decades. And a Dolphins team that's one of the hottest in the NFL. And, back in September and October at times looked like this might be just push the easy button and show up and don't vomit all over yourselves and you'll be able to beat this terrible Dolphins team. Not the case anymore. This, to me, feels like a real opportunity to continue to gain that momentum. Forget about what Baltimore does. If they lose, great, but take care of business yourself. And, to get a second straight AFC win here against, in a big spot against another team that's playing well, I think would be big for this group and particularly for this offense.
Yeah, that's actually, I like that quote a lot. It sounds like a Confucius. You could put that on a T-shirt or something. Almost.
Patrick Queen say momentum is greater than confidence.
But that win, when you start to look at the way, and part of that win, I think, or part of my logic in this here is that I think it exposed the Ravens aren't that good, or just showing that you could beat the Ravens. But it did so much because I feel as if this is more so to the Detroit game, although you could make the case, again, that the Miami's played over the past month. It's crazy to say, but over the past month, they're one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they are.
They're on this win streak, and defensively, the numbers they're putting up, and it's kind of wild. It depends on when you play a team sometimes on a schedule, and than the quality of them, at the end of the season or beginning that thing. But in reference to the Detroit game in particular, it's a road game, and hey, they might not make the playoffs either. But I mean, we know they're a Super Bowl, talent contending type team or that type of roster. The pressure is so much off now to win. If they would have lost that game with the Ravens, they would have had to force to win out essentially. And now it's like, because even if the Ravens win all three, I mean, there's tiebreakers involved, and how it shakes out. You can almost go 1-2 if you're the Steelers and still have a chance to play for the division that last week of the season. So, and the Ravens don't look like a team right now that's going to win the next three, right, guys? I think, so you're almost at the point where you could go 1-2 in these three and still play for the division. Now, you don't want to do that, obviously, for a lot of reasons.
No,
and you want to have that momentum and confidence, or however you want to put it. But playing Detroit, for instance, on the road at Detroit, if you go up there, play a real good game, and you lose, well, it's like, okay, that's fine. I remember a couple of those years that in 2018, the Steelers, they didn't make the playoffs. So I'm like, strangely, I feel better about their chances in the playoffs, and they lost the game because they played a good game. Does that make any sense? So I think that you can apply that too to Miami in terms of where they're at. And it is a bigger game. It's there's a lot of the Steelers' record on Monday Night Football, especially on Mike Tomlin's record on Monday Night Football, and you got the whole cold weather team coming up here in December. And of course, that last time, I think the last time that happened, I think it was about 2013, and the Dolphins won that game actually to kind of deliver a blow to the Steelers' playoff chances one of those seasons there. And they didn't make the playoffs because of it. But there's a lot of reasons why I think it's an important game to win. But more so, where I'm going with this is, just seeing. I don't want to see them lay an egg like they did against the Bills, right? I just want to see them kind of, if they play a good game and it looks like they're not getting shut out in the running game, or they're not getting just shredded in the run defense game, things like that, little parts to make you believe that they have a fighter's chance to win a playoff game or two once you get to next month, whether or not they lose one or two of these games or not.
I concur. Well said by our buddy Chris Adamski. Good stuff as always, Buzz. Thank you for taking the time. Make sure you're checking out all of Chris's work in the Trib and listening to him and Tom at noon on the Steelers Audio Network every single day. Thanks, dude, and we'll talk to you soon.
Pleasure, boys.
Pleasure is all ours. What's this guy think? He works at Chick-fil-A or something there? No, good point. And I liked that from Patrick Queen, too. More about momentum than confident. All these guys are confident. You don't make it to the National Football League without being confident. But this is the right time to be building momentum, and a win in Baltimore against your chiefest rival, probably the easiest way to build momentum.
Great place to start. Right?
Great place to start.
Yep.
Let's talk more about that win. Close down the first hour of the show when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on the drive here as we roll along on a Tuesday. It is now time for our aptly named Tuesday Rewind.
Yeah.
Very simple concept. Just a final chance to go back, cross some T's, dot some I's, some additional observations and thoughts that we didn't just download on Monday in our kind of, first reaction that we always do on Mondays after a game. And Matt, I've got a couple things that I want to discuss.
Yeah, I got a couple little ones too. But one big one. Okay,
that's what I like to hear. First is the wide receiver usage.
Okay.
Namely, because I want to glance at the Thielen and the MVS usage, but mainly DK Metcalf. I think there's a real fine line, and this is something that Mike Tomlin actually talked about in his press conference today. That, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not giving an exact quote here, but you at times you can almost get so obsessed over your identity that if you're trying one thing so much, you're sticking with one thing so much, you become easier to prepare for at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So I
think that's a Steeler problem over the years, period.
I think that there's some, not chicken and egg, that's not the right analogy I'm looking for, but I think having an identity as a team is important, but only to a certain extent. And you have to be light on your feet with it, and you have to be flexible with it.
Unless you're, amazing at it. I mean, if you're
unless
unstoppable.
you're unstoppable.
Right.
Unless you're the Eagles and their run game
the
last
Lombardi
year.
sweep.
Exactly right.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Patriots who just, hey, here's Tom Brady and Randy Moss. Good luck.
Yeah, but even like the Belichick era, they were the most
But
light on their
that's
feet
exactly
of anyone.
where I was
Right.
going.
They've changed a million
They went
times.
from ground and pound defensive team to we're going to score 50 touchdowns a year with Randy Moss, to watch us use these wide receivers in the slot, to watch how we use our tight ends.
Right.
The Patriots, their identity was we're going to evolve and we're going to attack wherever you're weak.
And their defense was week to week.
Was week
You
to
know,
week.
we just want a lot of smart, versatile players.
Sometimes we'll take away the run. Sometimes
yeah.
we'll take away the pass. And so they had identities, but it
Oh, they
wasn't
did.
like they were married to it. They were flexible within that ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best place to be. And when you consider that for the Steelers, I think it starts with DK. The run game, too, obviously, which is still left plenty to desire. I wrote down this stat here. Let me find it real quick for you. That 4 of the last 6 games, the Steelers have 70 or fewer rushing yards in 4 of their last 6 games.
Yeah.
That needs to change. That I don't know if that's incredibly long-term sustainable. But all this, where I'm going with all this, is we had spent so much time talking about how if you want to level up this offense, it feels like it has to start with Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. The All-Pro, the Pro Bowl playmaker, the guy who's making the big contract at wide receiver, who you gave up a second-round pick and gave a new contract to acquire this offseason, all that stuff. I loved how they started in that regard. It was early. It was often. And, yeah, there were some deep shot long balls that, as we have discussed many times, is not necessarily DK's cup of tea. But you got him the ball in a lot of different ways. You got him active
schemed
early.
him up better,
You
yeah.
schemed him up early. And because of that, the whole rest of the game, Baltimore had to be on high alert with everything that he was doing.
Yeah, I think to this point they've asked him to win just based on execution a little too much. Like
Good way to put it.
as opposed to let's move a lot of pieces around, set a pick, or that kind of stuff. And get your guy as open as possible via scheme. Previewing that game, the Steelers are notorious short passing game. I mean, get out quick, the line of scrimmage, blah blah blah, run off the catch, and the Ravens are the best in the league coming into that game at taking away their numbers versus a short passing game were the best. And that makes sense. Hamilton, Roquan, they have good tackling corners, like those guys all get to the ball in the flats quickly too. So I thought, well, of course that'll still be part of the game plan, but let's go run heavy here. The time of possession's a real problem. They didn't. They went less run than ever, which frankly, I'll be honest, if they lost, I'd probably be critical of them.
Sure.
You should run the ball more.
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to Monday morning quarterback that to death. Like,
No doubt.
Like, I mean, I'm not sure. It worked. The passing game was really good, so let's leave it at that. But they still lost time possession and, that type of thing. But they did push the ball down the field by design against a team that doesn't rush the passer all that well. And that's how they zagged from the short passing game to some degree and, schemed Metcalf off appropriately. That's great. You can't have his talent and his investment and be getting him four targets a game at 4.4 yards down the field.
3 receptions
what are we doing
for
here?
20 yards.
Right.
That's just 3 receptions for 18 yards. That's just not what you brought him in and
He
paid
needs
him for.
10 targets. Right.
Exactly right. And aside from the offensive lineman and Aaron Rodgers, he played the most snaps on the offense, 83% of them, and was really, along with Aaron Rodgers, the straw that stirred the drink. And I think, like, you're right, that the way that you put it there was perfect. They asked him to just go out and Jimmy their Joe.
Yeah.
Whereas they did more X's and O's stuff with him on Sunday, and he still had some Jimmy and Joe moments. But I think the X's and O's stuff opened that up and made it a little bit easier for him.
So everyone remembers like the Killer B era. That was not a very schemed up offense.
Was not.
It was, we have better checkers than you, so we're not going to do things crazy. AB's going to win one-on-one.
You got the best wide receiver in the world. You got the best running back in the world. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
And a really good offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, even like Peyton Manning throwing to Marvin and Wayne. One of them was always on the right, one was always on the left, and we're just going to beat you. Keep it simple. I mean, that's fine. But this offense isn't AB and Marvin and Ben in his prime and Peyton Manning and right.
Correct. With that,
with the second receiver too. Like the way that people treat Metcalf is very disrespectful to the other receivers. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and at least in those Killer B eras, you had Martavis Bryant, who was a lot to handle. You had Juju early in his career, who was a lot to handle and putting up big numbers.
I mean, Lev and Heath Miller and guys that'll sting you, if they're their third and fourth option.
Absolutely. Other wide receiver usage here, and funny enough, Matt, we spent some time speculating what could Adam Thielen's role look like. Will he be active? How much of a snap share and a role will he have? Well, he by far played the second most reps of any Steelers wide receiver.
Yeah.
With 25 reps for him, almost 50% of the offensive snaps. The next closest wide receivers were Calvin Austin and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who both played 16 snaps. So Thielen, 9 more snaps than the third and fourth wide receivers. That was quicker than I expected.
Yeah, me too. He started the game, which
first
maybe means something, maybe doesn't. Who knows? This is kind of why I brought up to Chris. Is like, because maybe it wouldn't shock me if on Monday, or I guess it'd be Tuesday, we go, I think Thielen's the 2. I mean, it's his second game, and I think he might be the 2 by then. We might go back to, this has changed so much throughout the year. Austin was, Wilson was one time outsnapped Austin, et cetera, et cetera. They're searching. I mean, that's the word I've been using for the number 2 receiver all year. But Thielen is reliable, and he didn't just got there, talk about moving train, and he was able to be on the field a lot. I was going to say contribute, but that's a strong word.
Yeah, I think he only had one reception, right? Yeah. But you're right. I mean, he was nearly 50% of the snaps on offense. That's a substantial number.
Yeah.
Calvin Austin, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 31% of the offensive snaps, so a little less than 1 out of 3. Does that say more about Calvin Austin or MVS?
I don't know. I think that size at that position is really important to them, and it's been lacking, and it shows up more and more as the season goes on. And
Sure.
So I don't know exactly. Again, I think they're searching. I think they're throwing a lot of things against a fan and see what sticks and that type of thing.
That was it for kind of my first Tuesday Rewind observation. Yeah, go ahead. Let's get into it.
A good one, but it's a small little nugget, was I can't remember if we talked about this yesterday or not, but I don't think so. Waitman was much better than he's been the last couple of weeks.
I don't think we mentioned that. I'm
I
glad
don't
you
think
did.
so. Yeah.
He was very good on Sunday.
I thought we might be getting reports in these coming weeks like, they brought in a punter for
somebody to work out.
I thought we could be getting to that level. So great. And another special teamer, Bruner, was awesome in this game.
He was outstanding.
So maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he really has a future as a defensive player. I think he's going to be Killebrew, Matakevich, maybe one of the best special teamers, not even on the team, but in the league. But those 2 special teamers had really good days, so that was great. Not that I was worried about Bruner, but he could be on the verge of being your next Killebrew, But rewatching the game and the run defense, there's some problems that I don't know they're going to go away, to be frank. They've been one of the worst tackling teams in the league, just by number of missed tackles, which I think put some stock in, but I don't. Is that a missed tackle or not
it's
all?
It's like the definition of a missed catch, right?
Like
it hits his hands, he could have caught it.
Yeah,
okay, but it grazes his fingertips, 2 yards outside of his body.
But I don't think they've been a great tackling team.
I would agree. I think they started poorly.
Poorly at the beginning.
Got better like in October-ish, but I think it started to regress a little bit.
And I think fatigue has something to do with that too. You could be a step behind.
They've now played 3.
Body's a little banged up.
Played 3 more games than the average defense in the NFL.
And I commend his efforts and the way he's flying around the field and clearly was playing with something. But Queen's the biggest culprit. I mean, he misses a lot of tackles, and I think he probably always will. I mean, part of it's just because he's so. It's like Shazier missed a lot of tackles, but Dale and I talk about but he also gets to more than others
exactly
though too.
Right. Exactly right.
Maybe he didn't make tackle 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but he bumped into he slowed the guy down.
Yes,
that where another linebacker might not have even done that.
Yes.
So I'm not saying Queen's at that level, but he gets to a lot. But my problem with the run defense more than that is they face 2 very different schemes back to back. I mean, with Ricard and Henry's a lot different than Cook on outside zones and duos. But what I saw from every D lineman not named Cam Hayward, they're just going backwards. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just losing whatever style block it is. they're going backwards, and thus they end up in Queen and Wilson's lap too much. That was how the beginning of the season was a lot. Benton in particular was bad early, got better. I still think he's kind of fine. But Black played a lot of snaps in this game, and he was going backwards.
The most of any Steelers. I mean, one more than Cam, but still 80% of the snaps for him. That's a big number. Like when we haven't – he played 64 snaps.
I know.
Like
a couple weeks never should happen.
A couple weeks ago in Chicago, I think he played 13 or 14.
And that's what he should be doing.
And he played 64.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot to put on his plate.
It's a ton. And part of it's because Benton got hurt
And part
at one
of it
point.
is because you're down Harmon and Benton got banged up,
but
certainly.
Who do you want to play him instead of, though? Lee or Unwo?
I was just going to say,
right?
like Logan Lee, who has been inactive some weeks, he played 14.
Right. I mean, so you're pretty thin here.
He's like taking the YA Black role.
Exactly.
Everyone's kind of bumping up.
Exactly. So they need to get Harmon back because he
Adamski
doesn't go.
Played 35 snaps.
Right.
45% of the defensive snaps.
He should probably play none. Or, he in a perfect world, he's not even really active, So you can see that that's by default. I mean, the wrong people are out there a lot.
You got red paint, you got to paint the barn red, right?
Right. And that's not the color you want to paint this barn. But I just see a lot of D linemen going backwards in the run game. And Harmon won't. Cam never does. Cam's having a really, really good year. Maybe it's not as splashy. And if Benton's out there too, fine. But the rest of them worries me a little bit. Like, to the point even, sometimes you can find these, like, old grizzled nose tackles that can stop the run until they're 60. I wonder if there's one on a couch somewhere that you could – because they really don't have the nose tackle that can't run that's just –
yes.
Like, they might need
Puts both of those bear paws out.
Right.
And just – like the Hoover Dam cannot be moved.
Right. They may need to examine their style of nose in the offseason and just get a big plugger, double team eater, an anvil.
Maybe we'll put that in the weird world of Matt Williamson topics to discuss in the offseason because I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah, they could use one right now.
And then I understand it because Highsmith is back in the fold. But I was still a little surprised. 3 snaps for Jack Sawyer. That's very low, even with all 3 of those other guys healthy.
That's very low, especially because fatigue has to be an issue when you run that many snaps.
Has to be. So Jack Sawyer only 3 snaps. Again, I thought he'd be closer to 10, not 30, but 10.
Kind of splitting hairs a little.
And then just 1 snap all game. It was on defense. 1 snap all game for Asante Samuel Jr.
Okay, let's get to that in a minute. But I thought where you were going to go, and I almost asked Chris this, but we kept him a little long. Herbig's still not playing enough for me. I mean, I know it's a great
27
problem
snaps for him.
Out of what, 30, like 74 or something like that?
Out of 80.
So less than a third.
Yes. 27 out of 80. 34%. So just about a third.
A third. He's too good for that. I don't know how you solve this problem, but with all respect to Cam and Watt, Herbig might be your best defensive player. I mean,
he might be.
He might be. I think he's having
at least at a lot of times this season, he certainly has been.
Maybe he's having the best year. We'll just put that.
There you go.
And I love Highsmith, and he makes big plays. And Watt, I think Watt dictates his own when he comes on and off the field. I think he's earned that, and I'm cool with that too. But
absolutely.
In the end, if Herbig's only playing a third of the snaps, can't have it. He's too good.
It's too good.
And that's a great problem to have.
And if you're going to pay him this offseason, you can't pay him I'm not saying he's going to make PJ money, but
he's going to make a lot.
You can't pay him big-time edge rusher money and have him on the bench for 66, 65% of the time.
Not at all. 1,000%. And lastly, the Samuel thing, I think, is actually a good problem.
Because all the other 3 are playing so well.
That's the thing. And this team that you played is never in 3 wide. You weren't going to go deep into the corner rotation anyway, so I thought he might play 50%. Pierre might play 50%. I think it's just a big compliment to Pierre, and we still don't know more about Samuel than we did. And in this case, I'm totally fine with it because, hey, that's we just didn't need to try to test that.
Yes.
And you would think Miami's a big 3-wide team, but they're not.
Not in the absence of Jalen Waddle.
Tyreek
Hill, pardon me. Sorry,
right,
Waddle's still healthy. Sorry, I got those mixed up. But yeah.
They play with 2 backs a lot. They play with an extra
They're a lot heavier, I think, than people think.
And they run the ball well.
They certainly do, and that's something we'll begin talking plenty about tomorrow. But that's an hour in the books, another hour to go. In hour number 2, Fantasy Football Focus, Power Rankings. But we begin by taking a look at the playoff picture, which I think we'll do this now maybe every Tuesday the rest of the way.
Yeah, it seems pertinent.
And a little more clarity after the Chargers get themselves a big win last night on Monday Night Football against the Eagles. We'll discuss all that and more in hour number 2 when we return here on your 24/7 home of the black and gold at Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steelers Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here of The Drive as we roll along on this Tuesday. And it is time now to take a look at the playoff race across the National Football League, Matt. A little more clarity after last night's Monday Night Football clash in SoFi, where the Chargers in overtime defeated the Eagles 22-19. A little bit of an ugly one from the standpoint of just a lot of turnovers and mistakes by Philadelphia.
Was there 3 turnovers on one play?
3 turnovers on one play. 2 by Jalen Hurts and 1 by the Chargers defender. Jalen Hurts had an interception and a fumble on the same play.
Right.
That's impressive to do as a quarterback in the National Football League, I tell you. So it brings into some clarity that Chargers win. Changes a lot.
It does.
I don't know if it affects the Steelers that
much.
No,
not so much.
Because I had this conversation with Rob King this morning. I filled in for Max on In the Locker Room.
Yeah.
And so,
cheating on me.
Rob, listen, you do more shows than who's the people in Vegas? The 2 dudes.
Oh,
the
Siegfried and Roy.
Siegfried and Roy. You do more shows than Siegfried and Roy. Dang it. Butchered my own joke. And, Kinger was like, you would have, from a Steelers standpoint, you would have liked to have seen the Chargers lose. And I was like, yeah, I get it in theory. I was like, but it's the North. It feels like the North are nothing for the Steelers and the Ravens.
I tend to think so, too.
Especially after last night, but I'm more convinced of that than ever.
See, how I think it affects things is on Sunday night, after watching the Chiefs lose to Houston, in a good game, I tweeted out my 7 AFC prediction teams, and I included the Chiefs.
Okay.
And I knew that was kind of out on a limb. The other ones were
who'd you have out besides the Colts? Chargers? Okay.
And that's where I'm going with this. My logic was, I think the Colts are about ready to crash and burn, and I think they're crashed, and now they're setting themselves on fire. They're crashing and burning.
They might need one more win just to not have a losing record this season.
And I'm not sure they'll get it.
Insane.
I mean, their schedule post-bye, they're on a 3-game losing streak for them, is brutal. And now they don't have a quarterback, and Rivers isn't saving that shit.
They've got Seattle and San Francisco and Houston and Jacksonville.
And TV sent us a tweet by J.J. Watt that Rivers and Steichen have been back and forth talking plays, that Rivers installed this offense on, so he's going to be on top of the offense for his high school team. But whatever. I never had a problem with him mentally. But he's not going to save their season.
No.
And they're on the outside looking in already. So they need something to go their way anyway. So my logic with putting the Chiefs in was, okay, I think the Colts are going to get out of their way, which, correct.
Yes.
I thought the Chargers would get out of their way.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they can block anybody, which I was right about that part last night.
You were.
7 sacks, and Herbert was a superhero.
Running for his dear life out there.
Just, Justin, you do something. I know you got a broken left wing there, a paw, but so what? You just have to do it because we can't block anybody.
Yep.
But because the Chargers won, I think that's all they need. I think the Chiefs are now dead.
I do too.
So that pretty much narrows it down to 7. And Ravens versus Steelers is still up for debate.
I think that's the only.
Yeah, in terms of who's going to go, and the seedings are still up for debate. But just because I think the Steelers have a chance to get in, or have a very good chance to get in, I think the Chargers winning is good because I don't want Mahomes in.
I completely agree.
Right. There's no way I want Mahomes in.
Completely agree. And the Chargers winning is good because they have the tiebreaker over Buffalo, and I would much rather the Chargers come to Pittsburgh in January than Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah, I would think the North winner is going to be the 4 seed.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Unless Jacksonville. Yeah. Jacksonville's schedule isn't terrible the rest of the way.
No, and they're playing pretty well.
And if they go 2-2, they've got 11 wins. The Steelers aren't getting. I mean, it's the
So
Steelers have to win out to get 11 wins.
Your prize for winning the division is probably, you get to host Josh Allen. That's not so great.
It's not what I want.
No,
and that's where
right.
that's where I was going with it too. Was I would much rather welcome the Chargers to town than the Buffalo Bills.
Agreed. You played them both.
Houston, different conversation, because yes, you'd have some weather benefits in your favor that you wouldn't have against Buffalo, but I think they have the best defense in the NFL and are one of the better teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I think they're playing the best of those three teams.
So it feels like Chiefs, sayonara, Colts, sayonara, and it just comes down to Texans, Bills, Chargers for those 7, 6, 5, 5, 6, 7 wild card seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steelers got to hold off the Ravens, one from the north in terms of Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
So are we pretty confident Jacksonville wins the South then? Houston could catch them.
Houston
still,
could
right?
catch them. They still play.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And Houston beat them the first time. So if Houston...
Because I wouldn't mind Jacksonville coming to town. That might be my pick if we get anybody. That might be my choice, right?
Yes. I would rather have Jacksonville or the Chargers much more than the Bills or the Texans.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Not even close.
What I find it crazy that you would not have convinced me in June or July is that Burrow, Lamar, and Mahomes aren't in the AFC playoffs.
Dude, wild.
What are we talking about here?
Wild.
Yeah.
That's looking like it's going to be the case.
Right.
I mean, Mahomes or
Baltimore
Burrow
still has something to say about it.
Baltimore still has something to say about it, and Kansas City, while one foot's in the grave, they're still not completely cooked yet.
They need a lot to go their way.
They need a lot to go their way.
Last night really hurt them.
You're absolutely right. Baltimore, Kansas City, who were kind of the two sexiest AFC picks coming into this season, could both miss. You throw in the third unicorn quarterback in Cincinnati. I mean, Josh Allen could be kind of that only proverbial
one, right? Of the tier 1 guys.
Sophomore Drake May and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
You could have career up and down Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Although I will say Herbert's
right next to those guys.
He's kind of in that next tier with Matthew Stafford.
I agree.
So maybe that's his real opportunity to level up and show something in the playoffs. But
they have no linemen.
None.
They still. I mean, I can't imagine them going far at all.
And they're not getting Joe Alt back. Correct?
No,
He's
I
done
don't
for the year.
I think they're shot. Yeah.
Ooh, that's so unfortunate for them, because you're looking at it right now and you're like, if we just had Slater and Alt, we would feel good about our chances with anybody.
Could be our year.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is, quite often the difference. So Jacksonville has the division lead over the Texans and the Colts by a game. So they're the 3 seed at 9-4. Steelers at 7-6. Chargers the tiebreaker over the Bills. So that's 5 LA, 6 Buffalo, 7 Houston. Yeah. I mean, Colts and Chiefs are on life support.
They really are already.
And for the Ravens, you have a clear path.
Bengals are shot. Miami needs like a miracle.
Absolute miracle.
But they're still alive. Yeah.
Only 4 teams have been mathematically eliminated in the AFC, but Cincinnati, Miami, real long shot. And then if you're Kansas City, you need 1,000,001 things to go your way. If you're Baltimore, there's at least a clear path for Baltimore. It's that we probably have to win out.
I would say, I think I'm really confident who the 6 are going to be and the AFC North champ.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Right.
Right now, I would feel very confident playing that lottery ticket of
those 6.
Those 6, Denver, New England, Jacksonville, Chargers, Buffalo, and Houston.
And then the AFC
North winner, which now the Steelers have the upper hand, the advantage to get to. I think
just shows how important that last game was.
Huge. Absolutely massive. So that's the playoff picture in the AFC.
So like on the NFC,
starting to get clearer and clearer, but the NFC,
I feel bad for the Lions.
So bad for the Lions.
Right, like they're a good team. Like I don't feel bad for the Chiefs, not because they've had so much success lately. It's that too, but
they have a losing record right now.
Right, they don't look like a playoff team to me.
No.
The Lions look like a playoff team. Like they could win the Super Bowl if they get in. Like they're really good.
Yes.
They're not lesser than they've been in recent years. They're just kind of in a mathematical crunch.
But if the playoffs started today, the Lions would be the first ones out. Despite being 8-5, they would be the first ones out.
So they need help
in the NFC. They need help. They do. Rams, the 1 seed at 10-3. Green Bay just on their heels at 9-3-1. The Eagles still in that 3rd seed at 8-5, despite that loss, because Tampa
they're going to
Bay,
win the division too.
They're going to win the division,
right?
I mean, they would need a colossal collapse, and even then, Cowboys would have to be perfect the rest of the way.
Almost seems like the Eagles are guaranteed the 3 seed.
Feels that way, unless Tampa or Carolina wins out or something like that. But
they've been bad. I mean, Tampa's been bad. They're almost like the North, where I feel like the South winner is just going to be the 4 seed, whoever that is, and
get mauled by the Seahawks in the first round.
Right.
In all likelihood, because the 10-win Seahawks are slotted into that 5 seed. The Niners at 9-4 in the 6th seed, and then now the Bears 1 game ahead of the Lions in the 7th seed. That's wild, though. The Bears go from having the tiebreaker to the 1st seed. Now to the last team. They were the 1 seed a week ago with the tiebreakers. Now they're the 7th seed and trying to hold off the Lions.
And because of that game,
fast, man.
San Fran was the 8, and they go to the 6 just by sitting at home on a bye. And they knew they were going to. It didn't matter who won. They were going to be the 6.
Either or, they were going to, yes, because they have a tiebreaker there.
Mm-hmm. They have an easy schedule, too. Those 3 teams from the West are going. They're in, and that bye could do good things for the Niners.
It comes down to
Eagles are going.
Bears, Lions, Packers. One of those teams is going to get left at home.
And I think the Lions, I think the Lions are probably better than the Bears. Maybe the Bears fall on their face a little bit, but they're not bad.
They still play the last week of the season.
Okay,
in Chicago.
That could be for the last spot.
That sounds like Sunday Night Football, Week 18.
Yeah,
at
sure does.
Soldier Field. Winner goes to the playoffs. Loser goes home.
Yeah, good.
Woo,
I'm not sold that Tampa just locks things up either. I'm not either. They're kind of falling apart. Baker's all banged up,
and Carolina's coming off their bye week. Maybe they've got some rejuvenated life. Wouldn't that be something if the Panthers won the division and hosted a playoff game? That would be a fantastic story for them. But for right now, and I think you and I said this, we did this exercise like a month ago. We were looking at both conferences, and we were like, there's going to be a good team on each side that gets left out.
Yeah.
Because you were looking at it at that point, and you were like, okay, like Chiefs, Texans.
At that point, Texans were in a lot worse shape.
It was like one of these teams is going to get left out. Now it's probably the Colts, the Ravens, the Chiefs, who are fine, but you're not feeling as good about those teams as you were.
I feel like the right teams are going.
Same. Whereas in the NFC, there is going to be a good team who gets left at home.
Right.
Whether it's the Bears or the Lions, I think it's going to come down to those two. I mean, the Bears are 9-4 right now and still realistically could not make the playoffs.
Pretty crazy.
Which is pretty...
The division they're in is
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And you consider how strong the Seahawks and the Niners have been kind of clamping down those 5 and 6 spots. That doesn't leave a lot of table scraps for everybody else.
And Seattle could still win the division. I mean, they still play the Rams again. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If anyone would have predicted Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl in the preseason, nobody would bat an eye. Like, oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
Ravens-Lions.
Right, yeah. right. And it's not they could easily be on the outside looking in. But the Lions are the one I feel bad for. It's like, you played like a playoff team.
Yes. They've navigated a lot of injuries and stuff this year, too. And that first place tough schedule. And you're right. Like, they could miss the playoffs, but if they make it, man, I would not want to be.
No, they could beat anybody.
I would not want to be the Green Bay Packers and have the 2 seed and have to welcome the Lions to Lambeau in January. No chance.
Exactly, right.
No chance would I want to do that.
Yeah, that's like a 1.5 point spread.
Exactly right. And so there we go. That's kind of the playoff picture as we sit here today.
It's got a lot clearer.
Staring down Week 15 last night made things much more clear, at least on the AFC side. Mm-hmm. So if the Chargers would have lost, then it's like,
then I like the Chiefs' chances.
You got a handful of 8-5 teams, and it all comes down to tiebreakers. And Kansas City is still alive, and maybe even Baltimore feels more alive at that point. Whereas now, it is starting to get very narrow. Mm-hmm. Starting to get very narrow. Just 4 teams eliminated in the AFC, although I think we'll add another 1 or 2 after this week. Just 5 teams mathematically eliminated in the NFC.
Who are they?
Falcons, Cards, Saints, Commies, and G-Men.
Vikings are still alive.
Vikings are still alive, technically, mathematically, at 5 and 8. But if they lose one more, I think.
And I was figuring that division they had to be real close.
Would be Sayonara. But if you look at it right now in the NFC, there's only 6 teams with a losing record. That's pretty.
So those 5 in
pretty
Minnesota.
Impressive.
Yeah.
As in the AFC, where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams with a losing record in the AFC. It's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on this. We will obviously continue to do that as we roll on down the track, but there's your playoff picture outlook for Week 15. When we return, let's get into some Week 15 power rankings.
Ooh, nice.
Where the Steelers, how did they move in jockey position? Where some of the other biggest risers and fallers here as we get closer and closer to January. We'll discuss all that when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here as it's time to get to our Tuesday power rankings. And there's not much change at the bottom of the order here, as people can expect, I'm sure. 32nd, the Raiders. 31st, the Titans, as they kind of have been all year. The Titans did get a win, actually.
So they won.
But staying at that 31st spot, I don't hate that. I mean, I might have them like ahead of the Giants. I might have them ahead of the Browns, who they just beat. But
yeah. I mean, again, we're kind of splitting hairs. I think the Raiders are clearly 32
I think
at this point.
the Raiders are absolutely 32.
Yeah, I don't think they'll win again, and they're miserable.
Oof, not great in Viva Las Vegas. And yeah, the Titans, I mean, again, they're in a nice spot heading. I know that sounds funny for a 2-11 team, but
right.
You've got the quarterback, you've got a couple things to build on, you got to find the coach, you got to have a good offseason. You're going to be in position to potentially trade down a few spots in the draft if you want to and pick up some extra capital.
Yeah, these bottom-feeding teams, what I'm finding interesting here on December 9th, my dad's birthday, happy birthday.
Nice. Happy birthday, Pops.
The Giants currently have the first overall pick, and I think the Titans have 2. I'm not sure if they do or the Raiders do.
Okay.
But neither one of them will draft a quarterback. I mean, either way, no matter where the Titans and Giants land, they're not going to take a quarterback.
Correct.
The Raiders absolutely could, whatever.
Giants 1, Raiders 2, Titans 3.
Okay.
Browns 4.
So I don't think the Raiders could get to 1. I don't think they'll go past 3 because I don't think they're winning again. I think they're really, really
they
bad.
would definitely draft a quarterback.
I would think so. Although they need everything. That poor guy would be in trouble. But anyway, what I do find interesting about these bottom teams, I'm sure you're going to bring up the Saints here soon, is Dart and Ward are locked in as starters. I'm open to the idea that Shador and especially Shuck could convince their team to give me one more year.
And that would be great for the Steelers if they did.
Right. Like at least, especially if this quarterback class is not blowing their doors off and Mendoza's in Vegas or whatever. It's like, do I want to take a risk on another or should I build the nest and run it back with one of these guys in their second season? I think that's a possibility.
It's a fair question to ask. And, got to tell you what, Mendoza might be the right quarterback for Vegas to draft. He seems very mature, very head on straight. I don't think you have to worry about him.
For that city you're
in
talking about.
that city in the Vegas nightlife. He seems like he's got other.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
He seems like he's got other interests in life. Giants.
He's kind of dorky.
You said it bluntly.
Right,
I was trying to paint a nicer way to say it, but yes, he seems
I've heard like Kirk Cousins comparisons in terms of like personality.
He
and stuff.
seems like a Kirk Cousins level dork,
right?
And I mean that affectionately. I got no problem with that.
Sure.
But I would much rather have him be that than have him be,
Johnny Manziel.
Have him be Johnny Manziel. Exactly.
Now this is a conversation for the offseason, but my Indiana buddy, it was right after they won. They interviewed him. I'm like, I'm not sure.
He's a dork.
And I knew that going in, but he's a dork.
L7 weenie.
and I said something like, I would much rather have Joe Burrow leading my NFL team than this guy's personality.
I agree with you on that.
He bit my head off because his Indiana Hoosiers just won. He's a grad, and he doesn't want to hear anything bad about
don't
him.
let Jacob Recht hear you talking like that about his Hoosiers.
And I don't know any of the people, but in general, I'd rather have Joe Namath or Joe Burrow, like the coolest dude in town.
The coolest guy in the room. Giants check in at number 30. Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they just, I
know what to make of them at this point.
I don't know what to make of them at this point. That's a good way to put it. 29, the Cleveland Browns, they drop a spot after losing
Again,
to
the offense
Titans.
showed life at least. They're getting a lot from their rookie class. Fannin and Junkins.
And they are. And again, hopefully, as Steelers fans, I know this sounds funny, but root for Shador to play well down the stretch.
I think so, yeah.
Because if they want to run it back with him in 2026, that's one more quarterback option that would be on the table for the Steelers come April. Number 28, the Jets, Jets, after getting demolished. But they might be down there in the Raiders with the basement. Yes,
they
might be
as bad as anyone this past week. Like
they got no quarterback.
I mean, yeah, again, they're playing Brady Cook. I mean, that was a bad.
I'd rather play Brady Quinn.
Yes, that was bad. And they played as poorly as the Raiders or anybody this week.
They got manhandled at home by the Dolphins.
Yeah, and that game was over in the first quarter, and apparently a Chan could have came back.
I was just going to say,
right,
92 yards on 7 carries, right. I think it was, before they took him out of the game. That's like Madden numbers. Number 27, the Arizona Cardinals. 10th loss in 11 games. I continue to think they're a little too high in these rankings, but they're probably a little bit better than the Jets and the Raiders and the Titans.
They've shut a lot of guys down too.
Yeah. They're bad, but they're not like weapons grade bad like some of these other teams.
I wouldn't mind taking that team over and try to rebuild it as opposed to some of these others. Opposed to like the Raiders.
Correct.
Yeah. But they do have a quarterback issue.
And that they do. And Kyler Murray will not return this season. We already knew that as of last week.
Returns next year.
I'd be shocked if we see him start another game in his career or even be active for another game in his career for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Commies, the Washington Commanders, checking in at 26.
Falling fast, too. Just got shut out by the Vikes.
Got shut out by the Vikings. Zach Ertz, an ugly ACL injury.
Yeah, that could be a career ender.
Third time in like the last month or two that Jaden Daniels has left the game with an injury. Like, what are we doing here?
Right,
man?
what are we doing here, right? And they're old in terms of like building for next year, other than the quarterback.
You and I both, July, August training camp time. We did like a segment or an hour one day where we did like pick a couple teams that are going to rise this year.
Yeah.
Pick a couple teams that are going to fall this year.
They were the obvious faller for me.
They were I think both of our answer. And I think I still might have picked them to go to the playoffs, and you were like, I think they'll be right on that 8-7 line.
Yeah. I thought they'd be around 500.
Like I think I said that they'll go 9-8 or 10-7 and find a way to squeak in, but man, this is a real step back. I think even you and I, who thought they would take a step back this year, didn't think it was going to be this drastic.
No, and some of it's quarterback injury, but it's more than that. I mean,
their defense is so old.
Yeah, again, the thing is they misevaluated themselves, and I saw that one coming a mile away. Like we're a Tunsil and Debo away from winning the Super Bowl. We were a Final Four team. That's all we need. Like you were lucky to get the Final Four.
You were fortunate, yeah. You had a lot fall right for you last year.
Plexiglass principle.
Had a lot fall right for you last year, and it all came shattering down
right back,
this year.
Right.
The Saints get a surprise win over Tampa, and they move up 5 spots to 25. Tyler Shuck, keep doing your thing, dude. Keep the Saints out of the quarterback market.
Yeah, I guess that's where they belong. I guess they're ahead of Arizona and Washington.
I tell you what, you were banging the drum for Tyler Shuck back in combine and draft season, and
I mean, considering you used an early second-round pick on an old quarterback, you might want to see one more season from the guy.
Yeah. Falcons check in at number 24.
Also falling fast.
They're gonna finish double-digit losses. They don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah,
it's not a lot to hang your hat on there. Bijan Robinson is great. Jalen Walker, I think, might win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm really impressed with him, right?
But they do not have a lot to. It's not a complete and total Raiders situation, but it's pretty close.
The problem with them, big picture, is if Penix isn't it, you're screwed because you don't have a first. I mean, how do you go get the next quarterback?
You can't.
You have so much money invested in Cousins.
Mm-hmm. You can't bring in like a Kyler Murray or someone like that when you already have all that money tied up in Cousins.
You have an expensive quarterback room, and you have a lot and a first-round pick, and you might not have a quarterback. Like that's a double miss. At least when they took Penix, which I didn't understand at the time, I'm like, well, one of the two will at least give them a serviceable quarterback for the next 3-4 years. Maybe not. And when you combine that with not a ton of cap flexibility and not a first-round pick, that's right? So are you waiting the 2028 draft to get your guy?
Purgatory.
That's brutal.
And by that point, Bijan's going to be pushing 30.
Yeah, right. What's the rest of the roster?
What's Drake London look like?
Sure.
Cincinnati Bengals check in at 23, Matt. The impossible.
I think they're better than that.
The impossible playoff dream is dead, but I think I'm with you. I think they're better than that. I think they're better than the Vikings, who are ahead of them. I think they might be better than Kansas City at this point. If the Bengals played Kansas City this weekend, I don't know.
I think they're the best team in the AFC North right now.
I mean, I'm kind of laughing, but
I thought the Steelers and Ravens were pretty equal. I mean, the Bengals. I'm glad that they have a couple losses because they could be scary. I mean, they battled the Bills to the very end.
I'm glad that the
they're playing
Steelers.
the
I'm glad the
best
Steelers
right now.
don't have to see them down the stretch.
Right. No, I think the Bengals are 15th best team in the league or 13th best team in the league right now.
22nd is the Minnesota Vikings, up a few spots after one of their
another
more
interesting
comfortable-
quarterback situation.
So
Maybe
weird.
McCarthy can.
It was his best performance.
Yeah.
He's another one. You'd love it if the Vikings were like, you know what, we're running it back with McCarthy for
we
one
want
more
him
year.
to look good too.
9. Come on, 9.
Yeah, finish the season strong. Do that the rest of the year, and then maybe they'll just like throw some Brissett-looking guy at it, as opposed to being in the market.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I love how that's become a thing now to make fun of quarterbacks across the NFL when they have you seen this, when they have bad performances, is to Photoshop them into a J.J. McCarthy jersey.
Oh, really?
Like, because that whole meme that everyone was making fun of them, like they were doing photoshopping Jalen Hurts into J.J. McCarthy's jersey.
Hurts was rough last night, man.
Boy, was he ever.
Wow.
I think a lot of the people that have been screaming about how he's been the problem in Philadelphia this year are starting to feel pretty good about themselves.
A little bit.
We'll get to there in a minute. Dolphins at 21. I think I'd have them higher.
I'd have them way higher.
They've won 5 of their last 6.
They'd be favored against 16 teams right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing good football.
Like, I think I'd have them above the Kansas City Chiefs, who check in at 20.
Yeah. Yes.
It's about
Those three
right.
are all pretty close, to be honest, Cincy, Chiefs, and Miami.
I think so. I think I'd take them all over the Vikings right now, certainly, despite the Vikings' commanding win against the Commanders. Cowboys check in at 19. They dropped 3 spots after the loss to Detroit.
These teams have all been playing pretty well. I mean, I know they lost to the Lions, but Detroit, I thought Dallas was one of the best teams in the league going into that game.
They've all got their clear-cut flaws.
Oh, yeah,
but they're all also very dangerous, and if they flip that switch at the right time, can put up a lot of points.
And all of them could be much higher next year. Good off season. Good draft.
Absolutely. Staying at number 18 off their bye week, it's the Carolina Panthers, 7-6. Got some help from the Saints, and that's going to make for an interesting month of November there in the NFC South.
I hate to say it this way, but I'm not sure Tampa, Carolina, Baltimore, or Pittsburgh is better than Dallas, Cincinnati, Miami, Kansas City. I mean, they're all in the same bucket to me. And, how well are you playing right now? Tampa's not playing very well.
No.
Not
what I mean? At all.
Baltimore's not playing very well.
No,
I mean,
not
maybe
at
the
all.
Steelers are a little bit better than those teams. I mean, but they weren't playing great going into Baltimore,
It's a tough kind of, you got to go only as good as your recent performance.
That's what I mean. That's how
right?
I look at power ranks. These aren't Lifetime Achievement Awards.
No, they're absolutely not. And Tampa Bay checks in at 17. After, at one point this
they're
season.
a dog against Miami right now.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're a dog against pretty
Kansas
much
City,
Cincy. Everybody who's in the playoff picture. I think they would probably be a dog against.
I would pick Dallas over them
maybe
now.
The Colts they would be favorited against.
Yeah,
but
the Colts should be lower than all these teams.
The Colts
right now.
we still haven't gotten to them. They should
I know
definitely be lower.
it's a gutsy move as a power ranker. I've been a power ranker, but I would have them below like the Bengals right now. As currently constructed, they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback.
They just signed a 44-year-old who hasn't played, who's a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame because it's been that long since he played.
They could have the best roster in the league, but they don't have a quarterback. So that doesn't mean you're wherever they're at. We haven't mentioned them yet, they're too high.
16, still haven't mentioned them yet. 16, Baltimore Ravens.
Okay,
but I would have Baltimore ahead of Indy. I don't know. I think I would.
Oh, I would too.
Indy checks
Indy
in.
would have been mentioned 10 minutes ago.
They checked in at 15.
Okay, falling like a stone though. They don't have a quarterback. You gotta rank this how they are today. Rivers doesn't.
They just signed a guy to the practice squad that hasn't taken an NFL snap since January of 2021.
Oh, so I wanted to say this earlier when we were talking about Rivers. The Colts are in a really tough predicament too.
No first-round pick.
So they trade for Sauce Gardner, and for 2 firsts. So they don't won this year or next. And one of the happiest people when that happens is Daniel Jones' agent, because now he's like,
I'm getting paid, baby.
I got the Colts over a barrel. They are going to re-sign my guy who's playing well. They think they can win it all with Sauce. They push their chips in. They don't have resources to go get another quarterback. They're going to pay Daniel Jones what I tell them to pay Daniel Jones. Okay, and I think the Colts knew that the second they made the trade. Of course they did. But then he he's not going to be ready for next year.
No.
So now what do you do? I mean, like, you pushed all your
He
chips in.
might be out till Halloween of next year.
Right. I mean, what's the answer now? I mean, like, you pushed all your chips in, and it came up snake eyes. It couldn't have gone worse.
Isn't Snake Eyes
bad
good?
luck.
Isn't Snake Eyes good or no?
I don't know.
We'll check back to
Whatever.
that.
Right. You put it all on black, and it came up red.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
I know that's not good.
You got snake bitten, maybe.
Yes.
There is the bad luck. I don't think there's any one right way to do business, or everybody would do it. I've told you, I know, in the few months that we've been doing the show regularly together, I know I've said this a couple times. There's no perfect defensive scheme in the NFL, or everybody would run it. There's no perfect, you have to operate like the Rams and be super aggressive, or you have to operate like the Steelers or the Bengals and be more traditional. Like
every quarterback should sit their first year. You know, like everybody's different.
There's no perfect way to do it, or else everybody would do it that way. But man, if you can think back to like just a month and a half ago when the Colts were on top of the world, and made those huge moves at the trade deadline, and everyone was like, see, this is what you do. You go after it, and you go get them, and look at the Colts, and it's so much, and they're striking while the iron's hot and all that stuff.
It's kind of like we just saw with Washington. That's how they treated their offseason. It's like, I'm sauce away from being the best team in the league. I mean, the Chiefs aren't sauce away from being the best team in the league.
Right,
you know, like, you got to be pretty darn good to be like a player away to be like, now we're the favorite.
And there's an alternate universe where the Colts have better health luck.
Right.
And they're 10-3 right now.
Yeah.
And, still.
And they're in the hunt, and they're
in the hunt for the one seed
games.
and hosting playoff games and winning the division. But the other side of that, and why you don't see, I think more often than not.
It's a lot better if you have quarterback stability. It'd be different if you had Josh Allen and he's on a 10-year contract or whatever.
And who bring Sauce in, who cares? Because this window is going to be wide open for the next 5 years.
This guy's always going to elevate, right? But they didn't have the quarterback situation.
As much as I'm guilty of it too. Like sometimes sitting there and pulling my hair out and going, come on, Steelers, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you being more aggressive? Why aren't you pushing more chips into the center of the table? But it's much easier to say that, and then you see someone like the Colts get absolutely burned here. And even the Eagles. The Eagles pushed a lot of chips into the center of the table at the deadline, and they've gone backwards since then. So there's no perfect way to do it, or else everybody would.
I mean, the team that the Steelers about to play did it when they traded for Tyreek and Ramsey, and they went all in on a bunch of dudes, and it didn't go well.
They haven't even won a playoff game. They've only been once, I think, and haven't won a playoff game. Steelers check in at 14, up 6 spots. I think it's about right. 14, I think is about right. If you'd have them a spot lower, I wouldn't fight you. If you have a spot or two higher, I wouldn't fight you. But I think this is about right. There's going to be 14 teams that make the playoffs.
It's the neighborhood they belong in.
Right now, if the playoffs started today, the Steelers would be in, but they'd have the worst record of all the 14 teams in the playoffs.
Oh, I guess so.
So I think that's about right.
Okay. I'm fine with it.
They'd be the only 7-win team, and there'd be a couple 6. Oh, that's not true. Tampa Bay. Tampa as well. Eagles check in at 13, down 3 spots.
The offense is troublesome.
Boy, is it ever.
Yeah, and the quarterback was very
4
troublesome.
4 interceptions for Jalen Hurts, plus a fumble turnover. I mean, they even had Saquon doing more Saquon-type things, and it wasn't enough.
Right. Saquon and A.J. Brown looked like the last year version of those guys, and it still wasn't enough. The defense was great.
And there's a lot of organizations that it seems like even when the faces and the characters change, some underlying themes are always there. And for Philadelphia, and you know it, I was on the inside for 3 years. They are Jekyll and Hyde. Like everything is either perfect on the up and up. We are one of the best teams in the league. We got a really good chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or it's this thing is an inch away from falling off the face of the earth and imploding.
What's funny is the last 2 years.
There's never stability there.
Yeah.
There's never plateauing. It's either arrow way pointed through the roof or arrow pointed down like the Tower of Terror.
Extremes. And what's funny is the last 2 years, they saw both, and one of them they won the Super Bowl, and one they lost like their last 6 games and got eliminated and got blown out. Right.
And I'm leaning towards this one looking more like 2023 than 2024.
I tend to agree.
Chargers up to 12, up 3 spots.
That's too rich for me. I mean, I guess they just beat Philly, and you could argue that both of them are better than the Steelers, but I don't know if they're favored against Miami or Dallas or.
It's fair. Number 11, this might be too low for me. It's the Houston Texans.
Oh, they would be way higher. They'd be like 4th for me. I think they're the best team in the AFC.
Their defense
It'd be gutsy to rank them that way in a power ranking.
Yeah,
I think they'd beat Denver or New England right now.
They are if you asked me if the Steelers are playing a playoff game this weekend and the team that you wouldn't want coming to Acrisure Stadium, I still think Buffalo would be my answer just because of Josh Allen.
Because of that guy, yeah.
But the Texans would probably be number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, the Detroit Lions. Number 10 on this list, but currently out of the playoffs.
That's where they belong. That's why I feel bad for them.
Yeah,
right,
that's the NFC, man. Number 9 is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
I might have Detroit and Houston ahead of them, but I don't hate. I think this is about the right area for Jacksonville at 9.
I've been comparing Jacksonville and Chicago a lot lately. New coach, first overall quarterback.
Little head of schedule.
Have not won much in the last 10 years or so, but the second half of the season was a lot better than the first. They're starting to figure things out.
You're still a little wobbly, but just make the playoffs and everything's.
And they'll probably lose a playoff game, but get in the playoffs is still ahead of schedule. Get
that experience for your young team and your coaching staff.
Talented quarterback.
Number 8, off the bye week, not moving at all. The Niners. I think that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Good bye week for them and Carolina at the right time. The Bears dropped just 1 spot to 7 after falling to the Packers.
Okay.
Hey.
I don't know if the Bears are better than the Lions, but they're in a better spot.
6, moving up these last couple weeks, the Buffalo Bills.
I suppose. 2 nice wins in a row.
I think so.
Real nice wins in a row.
Josh Allen is doing some more Josh Allen things.
He looks like the best player in the league right now.
They can run the ball well, and there's still some concerns there, but they've got a lot of superheroes to offset those concerns. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers.
I'm a believer.
I'm a believer too. I think they're back in that Super Bowl conversation.
Yeah.
Number 4, off their bye week, not doing any movement, is the New England Patriots. 10 straight wins into the bye week. Good time to have it for them.
We could fight about New England versus Denver, but I understand why they're the top 2 in the AFC. I think Houston's better than both, but I know I'm on a limb there.
Yeah. In terms of form right now, but when you're 11-2, that's tough to argue against. And the Broncos do check in at number 3. Not the most convincing performance, but an easy victory against the Raiders keeps the Broncos at number 3, and then no change in the entire top 5. Packers stay at 5, Patriots at 4, Broncos at 3, Seahawks at 2, and Rams at 1.
Yeah, I would have Rams 1, Seattle 2.
I think so. I might even have the Packers 3 ahead of the Broncos and the Patriots, but those are 11-win teams. I get it.
My top 4 would be Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Texans.
Ooh.
I know that's a little spicy at 4. That's why I went 4 deep.
I completely agree with your top 3. I don't know who my 4th would be. I would consider the Texans.
I don't think it's the Eagles.
No. I might consider the Buffalo Bills there.
Yeah. I get the Patriots and Broncos deserve respect. I mean, the records are strong, but I don't know if they're
they still got a lot to prove.
They still got a lot to show me, right? I mean, there's not a lot of experience at quarterback between those 2 teams.
They still got a lot to prove. Let's get to our final break of the day here. When we come back, we'll close down with some fantasy football conversation here on The Drive. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here of The Drive on a Tuesday. And I got to just be completely honest with everybody. Matt had a Dorito issue earlier in the show.
Yeah, got me right in the right spot.
I've still got some peanut butter from my Reese's cup stuck to the roof of my mouth here.
Okay,
I do love the Reese's cup, but that's the one downside. That peanut butter can linger, which from the taste palette is outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
When you're supposed to be hosting a radio show and coming back from commercial break.
Not the ideal choice.
Not as much.
But a little bit filling. They're the nice about the Reese's cup, you get a little bit of nourishment in there and a little bit of get you through the 2-hour show.
Oh, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
A little pep in your step. Pairs really well with coffee too, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I think the chocolate and the peanut butter combination with coffee is a good one. Real quick, Matt. AFC playoff percentages. Just wanted to go over this with you.
Okay.
Broncos greater than 99%. Patriots greater than 99%. Wow. Jags 97% for Jacksonville. Right.
Are we at clinch week? Or is Miami
close.
and Denver a win away from getting that check mark.
New
next
England
to
and
there?
Denver, you mean?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, because if they both win, they would be 100%
Okay.
locks to make it.
So we're going to start seeing clinches and
We sure are.
Yeah. A little check.
Jags 97% chance to make it.
Boy,
Incredible.
I didn't quite see that coming. I thought they were a 500 type team.
Same. Steelers 66% chance. If they beat Miami this Monday, it goes all the way up to 74.
Okay.
And even with a loss, they still have a 57% chance. So,
And I don't think if they lose the Lions, like if you play with those simulators, I don't think it hardly hurts them at all.
especially if they were to take care of business at home on Monday against Miami.
Right.
Chargers 76% chance.
Huge win last night.
Huge win last night. Bills 96% chance. I think that makes sense.
Makes
you look
sense.
at their schedule the rest of the way. It's not a cakewalk, but it's not incredibly done. They have the Patriots this
I
weekend.
think they have the Jets still.
And then, they have the Jets and maybe
Some other one that's not real difficult.
And then the Texans, 87%. Matt, I mean, a few weeks ago we were doing this, and they had like a 23% chance to make the playoffs.
I'm so proud of myself. I put a
You
couple
did.
bucks on. They're
You
going to
sure did.
represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, and they were like 23% chance of making the playoffs.
Probably still get decent return on that, but not to the same effect that you did a few weeks ago.
Right. And I'm not even sure they'd be my pick. But
That's for sure.
Thought they could.
Colts, just a 32% chance to make the playoffs.
I'd take the under, too.
Saying,
I don't know how much they account for the quarterback. I don't know how the math would factor in if Daniel Jones was healthy versus asking Phillip Rivers to come out of retirement.
Sure. Ravens, just 33% chance. Chiefs, 10%.
I mean, if people haven't figured that out, really, the 100% is Steelers plus Ravens. They make it 99 because there's still an outside chance.
The Bengals are technically not eliminated. Yeah.
Steelers have 2/3 of a chance. The Ravens have 1/3 of a chance.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
At this point, and it's pretty cut and dry. In the NFC, the Lions have a 50% chance.
That's better than I thought.
At making the playoffs.
I wonder what all they need.
Do they? Is it?
Because they're the 8th seed now, so they must need.
Yes, and I'm trying.
Maybe they need the Bears to lose out, and they have a tough schedule.
Man, they have to play the Rams this weekend.
Lions do.
Yeah. And then
so they lose that game. They're probably down to like 25-30%.
If they lose, they're down to 40%. If they win, up to 72%. But if they lose, down to just 40%.
It's a winnable game for them.
What helps the Lions is they have that final Week 18 clash with the Bears. So as long as they can stay within one game, they're going to have a chance.
And the Bears could lose a few.
The Bears could lose a few. Panthers, 29% chance.
Wow, I'm surprised that's not
Bucks,
closer.
71. I'm surprised that's
I don't think they've
not
played
closer.
each other yet. I still think they have 2 out of 3.
They might.
Carolina and Tampa.
You know, that's how they do.
And I think that's like all that matters.
Oh man, so the Bucks host the Falcons Thursday. That's Thursday night football. Then, Carolina, sorry buddies, they get the rest advantage for Carolina the next week.
And that's the one in Carolina,
yes.
Which you'd want for Tampa. If you're for the one away, you'd rather have the rest advantage for that one.
Absolutely. Then the Tampa goes to Miami.
Which I don't think matters at all. I think it has like zero effect on their chance. Right.
AFC, yeah.
Right.
And then Panthers that final. So that final
That's
week,
pretty fun.
The NFL is good at this stuff, man. That final week, Steelers-Ravens could be win and in. Loser goes home. Bears-Lions could be win and in. Loser goes home. Panthers-Bucks could be win and in. Loser goes home.
So if we go back a week, Packers-Bears are matched up for 2 out of 3 weeks with massive implications.
Yes.
Steelers-Ravens are matched up for 2 out of 5 weeks with massive implications. And Panthers-Bucks are matched up 2 out of 3 weeks with everything on the line. Like, I'm not even sure losing Thursday night to Atlanta even hurts them that bad. Like,
again,
if somebody sweeps, they win the division.
Like you and I have kind of laid this out, man. The NFL has really figured out how to capture everybody hook, line, and sinker. Yeah, Week 18, those games could all be, winner is in, loser goes home. You'll also have LA at Denver Week 18, which could have number 1 seed implications, which could have Chargers playoff implications.
I can't imagine anybody's resting in that game or anything like that.
I don't think so. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Seattle, San Francisco could have playoff seeding implications in Week 18. Carolina, Tampa Bay. Man, Indy and Houston could be a big one there as well. There's some
that Carolina Tampa thing's pretty fun though. 2 of the last 3 are against each other.
Yes, indeed. So that's kind of the
It's heating up.
That's where we're at. From that standpoint. Matt, in lieu of, because we only have like 2 or 3 minutes here, in lieu of fantasy football conversation, right now I wanted to run this by you. Vegas odds on MVP favorites currently. Okay,
I bet there's 2 ahead of everybody else.
Number 1 is Matthew Stafford.
May number 2.
May number 2. Josh Allen, number 3. Jordan Love,
I would say Love 4. Or Allen would be my next tier.
Dak Prescott, number 5.
He can't win it.
I mean, just his team's not going to be.
Yeah, his team's not good enough.
But Matthew Stafford is the betting favorite. Drake May isn't terribly far behind him.
Okay.
And then Jordan Love and Josh Allen are a little bit longer shots, but not.
Allen's coming on strong, though.
And you know how this is. It's much like the Heisman Trophy and some of these things. What you do at the end of the final quarter of the season is weighted much more heavily than what you do in September.
Snow games against Burrow, and he's a madman. You know?
Exactly. Nobody ever won an MVP in September. If that would have been the case, it would have been Baker Mayfield or Daniel Jones. You know?
Yeah.
No one ever won a Heisman Trophy in September. It's what you do in those final 3 or 4 games. That is certainly much weighted.
I assume
than
Myles
others.
Garrett's a defensive MVP by a mile.
Yes.
I don't even know who's 2.
You would want to get to that, huh? Because you always like talking about love Myles Garrett. There's TV. All right, he's not too locked in to give us a smile over there. The way that Caleb Williams loves taking sacks is the way that Matt Williamson loves Myles Garrett. I've gotten more tweets about Matt Williamson and his love for Myles Garrett, I think, than
He stinks.
Here's what NFL.com has for Myles Garrett. Final verdict: no brainer for Defensive Player of the Year. That's where it ends.
I wonder if he didn't play another game if he wins it. I think the answer is probably yes. He's got 20 sacks, right?
20 sacks. The
rare,
record reminder that Strahan and TJ share is 22.5.
With what? 4 to play.
4 to play.
Yeah.
So he needs 3 in 4 games to break it, 2.5 in 4 games to tie it.
Pretty good chance of doing it. I wonder who 2 is. I mean, it doesn't even matter because they have no chance.
Yeah, and
wouldn't even know off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I don't see here because they literally
Micah
just have
Parsons had a great. I mean,
they literally just have Myles Garrett listed. No brainer, Defensive Player of the Year. That's where it ends.
Yeah, and that's where he's at. Right.
If it comes down to him, if he still doesn't have that record when the Steelers roll into Cleveland after Christmas, I want Darnell Washington and Spencer Anderson on his side of the line of scrimmage every single play. Load it up, baby.
90 is active. Put Watt in there to block him.
TJ, you don't want Myles to break your record.
Right.
Get out there and stop him, brother.
Right. Hold him, drag him down, bite him, whatever you got to do. All right.
Dan Campbell, bite some kneecaps, and let's get out of here with 0 sacks for that guy. Fun show today. Thanks to Chris Adamski for joining us. Thanks to Nathan for producing. Big shout out, as always, to our video producer, TV, Mr. Tyler V, for keeping us handsome and crisp on the YouTube side of things. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.